Hey everyone, so this is actually season 2, episode 1 of Marco Polo that is titled The Hunter and the Sable Weaver. Um, and basically the first few seconds, or the first like 2 or 3 minutes of the whole episode before the theme song comes up is where this group of people who I assume is the Mongols, pulling a wagon of birds, and it turns out it's way back in the day before the current events are happening, where Kublai is just a young little lad, and him and his cousin are just like youngins and everything. Yes, I said youngins, so don't you didn't mishear that. But anyway, so Kublai and his cousin Kaidu are young little children, who and this is like way back in the day before any of these events that are currently happening have even taken place. And basically, I think this guy who is I assuming is Kublai's father, makes Kaidu release a bird that he and before he makes Kaidu release the bird, the guy wraps a piece of string around the bird, and on the end of that piece of string, that is a little ball that is tied to that end of the string, and then after the guy ties the thing around the bird, he lights the little ball thing on fire and then tells Kaidu to release it, and he does. Kaidu releases it, and then the guy orders the Mongol soldiers to light the cages, light fire inside the cages, and then open one side of the cage that are and so that they can release the birds. And so the birds are therefore then, they're caught on fire, and they fly towards city. I don't know what city it's supposed to be, but they fly towards the city, and then catch the, or not really, it's not, I don't think it's even a city, I think it's a village, and so the whole thing starts burning the fuck down, and that's the first like 2 or 3 minutes before the theme song comes on. And then when the episode comes back on, you see it's back in when the events are taking place, and it's in the city of Qinsai, South China, and Marco is seen in the midst of a drinking game with the local Chinese people there. And while this is going on, you see someone is getting a tattoo on their back, like on just below their neck, and you see that person, like a handful of times. I mean, I assume that's significant, and that person will end up coming back later in the series. But anyway, so while that's going on, Marco is basically asked what right he has to come there, even though the city is occupied by the Mongols. And Marco then shows the guy the golden tablet of Kublai, and the guy stands up, spits on it, and then Marco hits him with it, and then takes the money that was put on in the middle of the table. Whatever. And then it goes to Mei Lin having seemingly successfully escaped Khan Block and is looking for refuge in the city. But she's kind of rebuffed for a second before she says that she is the brother of the former chancellor of Zhanyang, and eventually, and then so the guy she's talking to kind of pauses and kind of thinks about it for a second before the Mongols show up and take Meilin. And then a minute later, when Marco and her are in the boat, he asks her quietly if she found him, and then she responds, "We're close." Whatever the fuck that means. So, then it goes to Bayambo leaving Catalan and Karakoram, which is supposed to be the old capital and the land that Arik used to be ruler of, but Kaido is now the ruler of. And he leaves to go do something with the Horde of Warriors. So that you see kind of going on. And then back in Complock, fake Kokachin, like I really love to call her ass, and Jingham ride together, because this is a tradition that they do, it seems, in at least back then. I'm not sure how it is now. I mean, I don't know for sure if that, I mean, I kind of think that they don't do it, but that's kind of an assumption that I'm making, so I really don't want to, so I'm kind of going to renege on that assumption and just go with that, at least in the time period that this series is in, this is what they do. They kind of, the bride-to-be is riding, and the groom-to-be is, kind of chasing after her on another horse, and so basically, what the groom has to do is he has to catch up to the bride, or the soon-to-be bride, and pull her onto his horse, and a kind of capture sort of thing. So that's what they do, at least in this Mongolian, in this culture, in this time period. And so that's what, I mean, she it's clear that she's not really making it easy for him to do this, to capture her, but eventually he does, and so they kind of talk a little bit before they see Bayamba riding over to them, and then it cuts to a man who is a governor going and speaking to Kublai, and he's voicing his concerns over the currency that Kublai is making this southern Chinese use, because apparently 50 notes of the southern Chinese currency equates to one single currency that Kublai is making them use. So there's that, and then there's a rise in taxes and stuff that this guy is concerned about, and Kublai's rebuffs him, and it's like, well, if I wasn't here, then such and such would happen and everything, and so he just sends him away. And Kublai then is like kind of looks at a map and then wonders who's next that he's, I guess, supposed to conquer. And then it goes to 100 Eyes, and his, I think it's the stables. The stables. I was gonna say it was in his temple, but I was like, you know what? No, never mind. I remember now. It's in the stables, and he's in the door. 100 Eyes is in the door of the stables, and Jingham and a whole bunch of his I guess friends are drinking heavily and everything, and Jingham then goes up to 100 Eyes and asks him advice for his future wife, And Hunter is like, well, I don't know what the fuck to tell you. I can't tell you shit on why, as far as whys and women go. So don't fucking ask me about shit, because you know me. I haven't had a woman, or I'm not really a woman, but I haven't had a wife before, so I can't fucking tell you shit. So, which I thought was kind of funny, but that's just me though. Then Chabi goes to see fake Kokachin, and as she's getting ready on her and Jingham's wedding day. So this is apparently their wedding day. And then Chavi's like, you need to forget Marco, because that's not gonna happen. I guess it's really not that difficult to see that there was something going on there. But and then something that I heard her say, which was striking, is that peasants marry for love, while royalty marry for a cause greater than themselves. I think for the most part that's fairly true. I just won't say I just won't say for certain that royalty only marry for a greater cause greater than themselves. I think a lot of the times that can be true, but I think there have been some royalty who married for love. So I mean, so I won't be so hard as to say that royalty don't marry for love at all. But that's just me though. So, and then it goes to Meilin and Marco making their way down river. And Marco's like is having this coughing fit, and I think he might have even thrown up or something. And Meilin's all annoyed by that, because she's like, he apparently seems to be doing that. Seems to be drinking a lot. In every city that they go to look for the prince, or not the prince, the white emperor. And it's just like, apparently he seems to be doing that like in every single city. And then Marco is wondering what a phrase Sadao had said, and she tells him that it is where he had stashed money and weapons in case he had to flee Zhanyang. And obviously, I think that's where they're going. So anyway, and then Meilin speaks to Sadao like she still cares for him, and Marco calls her out on it basically, because she seems to hate him vehemently and everything. And she says, well, he was still my brother. And Marco's like, well, she still hated him even though he was her brother. And then Meilin's like, well, I see how the Mongols have ravaged every single city that we've been to in South China. And Sadao, and she's like, Sadao seems to mainly have been right about it. Or mainly been right about the Mongols and everything. And Kublai says, well, Kublai is trying to right his wrongs, but Meilin's not have any of that shit. And saying by trying to hunt down a child, that's his way of making everything right. That's his whole, like, what? So Marco's like, well, when people see the child walking side by side with the Great Khan, they will see a new dynasty is arriving. And she's like, is he sure about this? And he's like, well, yes. And then she tells him to, look over there in the water. And he sees several dead bodies of people, and who have, and she explains that they kill themselves rather than having to live under the rule of Kublai. I mean, well, that's really true or not, I don't know. I'm kind of inclined to believe her, but I mean, still, that's yet to be seen as true or not. And then so it goes back to Kumblock, where Kublai's uncle, who happens to be a Christian, has come to visit. And before they talk in a little bit, and before Kublai's uncle leaves, Kublai asks him if he's to come back when he's finished with whatever he's doing, whatever is deemed significant. And then his uncle's response to that is like, with whatever you deem significant, which is really true. Whatever. I mean, he can't really come back if Kublai doesn't have anything he thinks is significant. So anyway, then when his uncle leaves, Ahmed tells Kublai that Bayamba has returned, and then Bayamba then tries to speak, but Kublai silences him, kind of in a roundabout way, silences him without actually, like, explicitly stating silence. And then Kublai scolds him for leaving on a day of glory to go to a trader, but then smiles and says that Kublai or Bayamba is welcome home anytime, or is always welcome, basically. And Bayamba tries to tell him there's something important he wishes to tell him, but Kublai just wants to speak while they talk, and speak of other things. But eventually Bayamba says he comes with words from Kaidu, and explains that Kaidu wishes to challenge Kublai's claim to the Mongolian throne, and is calling for a duel. And Kublai says Kaidu was just using Bayamba, but Bayamba rebuffs this idea, or this notion, saying that he chose to come when he asked to come when Kaidu asked for someone to deliver the message, because he figured that Kublai would want to hear it from him rather than either some stranger or Kaidu's daughter herself, which I personally think is reasonable, because I feel like if Bayamba wasn't the one who delivered this message, Kublai would have called him a coward for not doing it, for not coming to tell him himself, and basically called him a traitor for not doing it. And so that's what I think. I mean, if anybody else thinks differently, then please share it in the comments and everything. And then Kublai tells Bayamba to get out. And then it goes back to Mingwen and Marco kind of, still making the way downriver, when they see a band of people, or band of men, kind of occupying this particular location. And so she she doesn't really make him, but she uses Marco as a prisoner when they come across them, and eventually, the lead guy allows them to go through and everything, and so that's pretty much the whole end of that scene. And then she goes back to Kambalak, where Kublai addresses the world court about Kaidu challenging him, and his claim to the Mongol throne. And so Kublai, Jingam, and Hanjai are pretty much the only ones who really speak on this whole challenge, before Chabi comes in and dismisses the whole court, tells Jingam to get ready for the wedding, and then talks to Kublai about things, and how and they kind of reminisce on how they got married, before they got married and everything. And then you see Jingam going to speak with fake Kokchen before the ceremony, and he's clearly still drunk. He's clearly still drunk. And he pledges to protect her, not only just as an imperial lady, but as a friend. And Faye Kokachin then pledges to be a good or dutiful wife, before she says she's gonna give him an early present, which is basically just sex. I have kind of like a theory on why she does that, but I'll explain it later at the end of the episode, or end of the recapping this episode. Um, then it goes back to Marco Malin, still following the trail for the young emperor. And well, no, before I even explain a little bit more about that, three things are basically happening at this that I feel like makes up this one gigantic last scene. The first thing is fake Kokachin and Jingam are getting married, are in the process of getting married, and are going through the motions of the ceremony. That to me is this kind of like the A part of the whole scene, this last gigantic scene. The B part of this whole gigantic last scene is Marco and Mei Lin making their way, trying to follow the trail of the boy emperor. And the last and third final thing that to me is happening in this one last gigantic scene is Bayamba riding back to the old capital. So basically, you see, like I said, you see Jingam and Fikokachin going through the ceremony of getting married, and one time when they kind of flash back to Jingam and Kokachin getting married, I was like, you know what? It's kind of too bad that she isn't royal. I have a feeling that's gonna. I mean, since the writers made it an issue of her not really being royal, and she just assumed the name Kokachin, and it's not really her name. And I have a feeling that they're gonna bring that up later. When they will bring it up, I don't know, but I have a feeling that if not by the midpoint way of season 2, then by the end of the season, and if not by then they're obviously gonna have to bring it up in season 3, if there's gonna be season 3. I feel like the reason why I say they have to bring it up is because of the fact that what was the point of showing the kind of going back and showing her assuming the role of Kokachin if you're not going to bring that up as an issue with Kublai and the royal court later on. So if they don't do that, then I'm going to be really mad, because I hate when writers do that. I hate when writers bring up a plot point and then completely dismiss it and don't bring it back at all, or not bring it back for a long time just because they feel like they can do that. So they're gonna have to bring that back up. They're gonna have to actually make her not actually be royal or have any royal blood an issue. They're gonna have to bring that back, and I'm hoping it's gonna be in this season. So, yeah, that was my whole thought process when they were getting married and everything. And then there's Marco and Mei Lin, kind of following the trail, still following the trail of the boy of finding the boy emperor, and they come across this kind of like they get to the place where I think Sadao had kept his money and his stash of money and weapons in case he needed to, kind of flee. And they go in there and they find this hooded person, like kind of kneeling down in front of a candle. And Mei Ling confronts this person, and then the person, who turns out to be a woman, attacks her. And I don't quite know if she either fled or died or what, but eventually they find this trap door under the rug that she was sitting on, or kneeling on, and I think the boy emperor is under that trap door. At least that's what it looked like, is that it was the boy emperor and everything. And so that's the B part of the whole last big scene. This last big scene. And then the third part of it is Bayamba riding back to the old capital, Karakoram, and he rides through the night, and it gets back to Karakoram in the morning, dawn, and as he nears Cuddlin and Kaido, who are on horseback, a ways away from the city. And as Bayamba rides towards those two, you see several heads of the soldiers that went with Bayamba to Kambalak are strapped to the horse. And Bayamba tells Kaido that his father accepts, that his father has accepted his Kaido's challenge, and basically that's the end of the whole episode. Now on to my predictions. I have several, some that are new, some that are recycles from when I was recapping season 1. One in particular that, or I'll say what I think, or I'll say what the old, predictions that I have. I still think that despite the writers making Meilin Meilin seem like she had escaped in the beginning of the episode, I still think that she's going to escape eventually, whether aided or not. I still think and hope that she escapes with her daughter and is able to kind of live happily ever after as she can get, because I feel like she deserves it, because like I said last season, I feel like she's gotten the short end of the stick for the majority of her life, including up until this point in the series. And so that's what I'm hoping it happens, regardless of whether it's aided by Ahmed or not. And then I'm gonna go to Ahmed. This particular old prediction has something attached to it. I predicted last season that Ahmed was the one who ordered or hired the assassins to kill Kublai, and it was basically confirmed during the last scene of episode 10 of season 1. It was basically confirmed at that point. So I'm gonna attach something onto that prediction, even though it's basically come true. I think, and it has to do with it has to do with 100 Eyes after watching the special that they put up before season 2 aired. I think 100 Eyes is going to help him. I'm thinking 100 Eyes is gonna help Ahmed kind of, either kill or make. Well, I think he's gonna help Ahmed kill Kublai, and if he doesn't necessarily kill him, then get Kublai off of the throne of Mongolia. That's what I think is going to happen. Is that's what 100 Eyes is going to do. Because I still don't think that 100 Eyes is as reformed and not mad at Kublai as he says he is. And then, well, my last new prediction is that the reason why I think Kokachin had sex with Jingham when before the ceremony is because I think she is currently pregnant. I feel like she's currently pregnant, and she knows she's the only one who knows she's pregnant at this point. And I feel like the reason she's pregnant is because she had sex with Marco all those weeks or months back. And I feel like to ensure that she isn't to ensure that she can pass off her child as Jingham's, she had to have sex with him before the ceremony. Whether it works or not is yet to be seen. If it's even true, but I personally think that she realized she was pregnant before the ceremony was to start, or was to be complete. And so she realized she was pregnant by Marco, and to ensure that she didn't get found out that she's not the real Kokachin or anything, she had to make sure that she had sex with Jingham before she started showing and everything. So that's kind of like my last prediction, basically. And with all that said, hit like if you like this video. Hit subscribe if you want to get any notifications of any new videos that I put up. And please do not hesitate to write any comments in the comments below to discuss this series with me, because I would love to discuss it with you guys in the comments. With that said, I will see you guys later in the next Marco Polo video. Bye.